The play, The Importance of Being Earnest, follows the life choices of Jack, who doubles as his false brother Ernest. Jack created this persona to lead a lifestyle he knew was unfit for his current state. Jack's adopted sister, Cicely, explains that she hopes Algernon has not been living a double life, pretending to be wicked and being really good all the time. That would be hypocrisy. This quote contributes to the comedic effects of the play, for Cicely accuses Algernon of living a double life and doesn't realize that her brother is doing so as well. With the help of historical criticism, the 19th century was seen as the peak time for identities constructed through macro-political systems that also influence the ways in which people perceive and communicate with each other in private or domestic spaces. This idea may have been the driving force for Jack's alter ego. Many times, though, the secret life can result in confusion. When his two lives collided, Jack was forced to reveal that he had never had a brother in his life, and he certainly has not the smallest intention of ever having one. This helps to display the downfalls of living in a false life, for Jack now has to face the consequences. However, with a turn of events, Jack's real name turns out to be Ernest John, which moves Jack to say, "Is it a terrible thing for a man to find out suddenly that all his life he has been speaking nothing but the truth?" This quote aids to the realization that longing for a better life may not be so wrong, although dramatized through this play, and Gwendolen eventually forgives him. This play can also relate to the works of The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. In a similar way, Dr. Jekyll also has a type of alter ego, who is Mr. Hyde. One theme found throughout the novella is that all human beings, as we meet them, are commingled out of good and evil. Dr. Jekyll created a bad persona for himself, while Jack, an already bad man, created a good persona for himself. Additionally, both cases end poorly. Through literary criticism, the reasons for duality are revealed. The major characters are all professional gentlemen because their respectability provides the facade behind which their essential selves are allowed to masquerade. This quote is essential to understanding the insecurities of both Dr. Jekyll and Jack, who have both created a new persona for their hopeful benefit. Throughout the novella, it is seen that both Jack and Jekyll have the same mentality about duality. Jekyll explains that man is not truly one, but truly two. This shows how both characters see no problem with their actions and the consequences that follow. Both characters also felt that giving up their fake persona would be like giving up an important part of themselves. Jekyll explains that even if he could rightly be said to be either, it was only because he was radically both. Once again, the two characters both experience an attachment to their new personas and the world around them, which could not have been achieved without their created personas. An example of the implications of the importance of being earnest in pop culture can be seen through the movie The Parent Trap. After meeting at a summer camp, long-lost twins Hallie and Annie meet for the first time since birth. The girls become very curious about the parents they never knew and therefore decide to switch roles when the camp ends. Like Jack, the two girls' curiosity about each other's lives led them to do silly things like cutting each other's hair and piercing each other's ears. When the two parents realize what has happened, Hallie explains that Annie was just pretending to be her while she was in London pretending to be Annie. This revelation explains how the girls' lives relate to Jack's. When their families collided, it was one big mess, wondering who is who. Similar to the importance of being earnest, a major conflict was the idea of marriage. The two daughters didn't want their dad to marry anyone other than their mom. Through literary criticism, their longing for a dual-parent home is normalized. The criticism explains that a teenager's time is structured around the pursuit of a well-rounded life. Therefore, the two girls' actions are justified. Luckily for them, the conflict of marriage ended happily, where all parties involved were satisfied.